Hi, everyone. Welcome to End of Life Conversations and Reflections. Today, my guest is Mr. Harkiran Singh. He's a holistic healer with a background in spirituality and clinical hypnotherapy. He has studied Chinese medicine as well as engaged in the study of meditation for the last 8 years. He's on the path of meeting the divine while he is living. He works with two teachers who have stated that they've met the divine source. And just to round him off, I think he also works as a financial planner. So thank you so much for joining me today in End of Life Conversations and Reflections.
Thank you for having me here.
Welcome. So I usually like to start out by asking people about their experience as a child with death and dying. So do you remember when you were growing up, if there was a death or dying experience that you still remember?
Yeah, the biggest experience I had in my life was when I was 10 years old. My mom passed away on my birthday in a house fire.
I'm sorry, your mom
My,
died?
my mother passed away, yeah, so on my birthday, on my 10th birthday, yeah, in a house fire, right?
Oh my
So,
God.
so that trauma has always haunted me for my life, right? And then you slowly, you learn how to release that trauma, right?
I'm sorry, yeah, just for the audience, none of this is scripted. So I'm just having a little bit of a moment here where I had no idea about your background with that experience. So as a child, 10 years old, that was your first experience with death, and it was a super traumatic one, losing
Yes.
your mom. And how did that impact your journey forward?
You go through a lot of different experiences. But what that teaches you is basically it makes you a lot stronger, right? Because you end up learning all these different type of lessons in life.
Yeah. And so how did you like get on? Like, was there a spiritual practice or religious practice? Or what helped you through that journey?
In the beginning, my background, I got into martial arts, right?
Yeah.
I did martial arts all my life. Spirituality came in the latter part of my life when I became spirituality when I was 42 years old. I
Okay.
was never a religious person before, but
Yeah.
when divine wants you, bring you on this path, he
Yeah.
finds those teachers that will actually convert you, right?
Wow. So that was usually I ask people their first experience and their life altering experience, but it sounds like yours were one and the same. Your first was a life altering experience.
Yeah.
Since then, what has your experience been with death and dying? Has there been any other experiences that stand out for you?
When I came on the path of spirituality, being born in Canada, background electronic engineer, I'm not into rituals.
Okay.
Everything has to be practical, right? Right on the dot. So when I came on the spiritual path, I wanted the right answers. I don't want somebody wrote a book, he read the book and got some answers, right?
Hmm.
When I came on the spiritual path, on a path, even through spirituality, I wanted a teacher that has met divine, not just following somebody, learning, trying to also meet divine, right? You don't want to follow somebody that is also on the same journey as you because there's not going to be the proper learning there, right? It's all guesswork, right? You don't want to be in the guesswork. So I became a baptized Sikh. The reason I chose Sikhism was because um, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our Bible, but everything written in the Bible were written by those people that actually has completed a journey,
Hmm.
divine, and they
Yeah.
came back and they wrote in the Bible. How did they do it? What happened on the ways, right? So all that practical knowledge is written in there, right? The sad part is 90% of the Sikhs don't understand the writings, right?
Okay.
Because they just read the scriptures daily and they don't want to dissect it, what it really means, right? So after 4 years, I go, no, I got to look for my teachers, right? So when you start asking divine, you start doing your prayer, you know what? Is there anybody that actually met you? We're all sitting here, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go do this. But has there any been there that actually practically met you, right? So after about 2 months, I met a lawyer from Chicago, a lawyer with 4 degrees. I was listening to one of his lectures. In one of the lectures, one of the child asked him a question. He goes, have you met divine? Have you met God? And he said yes. And when he said yes, my eyes lit up. Like, okay, now this is someone we got to ask questions for, right? But right,
Yeah.
you don't believe it. You kind of chuckle too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you have. So then he had a second session in the evening, right? There was a session in another temple. So at that time, what I did was I took one of my friends with me. Like while I was studying hypnotherapy, I had one of my friends that was gifted from childbirth. She can look at you, see your aura, see your past lives, right? So I took her with me. I told her, sit down here for half an hour, just look around, and we're going to leave, and you tell me what's happening afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
After half an hour, we left, and then she just shaking her head. She goes, who was the teacher out there, right? And I go, why? And she goes, that person's aura or white light goes all the way to the roof. That's a powerful individual. So when she said this, I got excited. I go, wow, right? Then I came close to him and I took him on as a teacher. And my first lesson as a teacher as a student from him was that what separates you and divine is your wall of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Where have I gotten? Where are you sitting? Right? He goes, if you kill your thoughts, you will meet divine. So nowadays, look around. We have so many people with ringing in their ear, tinnitus, right? And our Western medical system has no cure for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? What it is there's two things that can take you through the 10th gate: white light and sound current, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most of these people that have ringing in their ear, tinnitus in their ear, they're actually your guides. The sound current guides your mind going through the 10th gate.
Wow.
And so go ahead, yeah.
No, so is it just the ringing in the ears, or is there other ways? Like you said, there's light,
There-
uh,
and there's sound, two things that can take you.
sound, and so what is the 10th gate?
So 10th gate people refer to the third eye.
The
The
third
third,
eye.
yes.
Yeah.
We have our 9 outer doors, right? We close our 9 outer doors and take the mind to the 10th gate.
And that's the way to kind of connect with source, with divine in this lifetime. Um,
What it is, like when our first guru came here, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, right? There were so many religions, right? He actually didn't need to create another religion. So Sikhism is not a religion; it's a way of life, right?
right.
It's what he came up with was he came up with a simple formula because everybody's trying to get to the divine through the Muladhara, to our, our belly button, the Kundalini, raise the Kundalini from there. It's a very hard process, very difficult and a very dangerous process, right? Our first guru gave us a very simple path. He goes, use a mind tool, we
Mm-hmm.
call it mantra, connect to the sound current. With the sound current, close the 9 doors and go in. Why do you want to go all these circles, waste so many years when you can do it so simply?
Wow.
Just grab the mind, start the internal sound current, close the 9 doors and go in.
So people that go on this journey, do you think they're less afraid of death and dying? Like, have you ever encountered someone that has told you that death, what is your perspective about what happens when we die?
Before I became spiritual,
Yeah.
when I used to drink, when I used to party, right? I made good money in my business, right?
Yeah.
I used to be afraid of the dark. Forget about the death. I was afraid of the darkness.
Okay.
At night, oh yeah, I put the lights on, right? When you become on this path, the spiritual path, and then you learn later on what is happening after death, the whole concept changes, right? When I started meditating, sitting in nirvana state, the fear disappears. The first question I asked my teacher was, what happens when you die, right?
Yeah. What did he say?
What it is, what we doing in the practical here right now, connecting to these different sound currents. First, when you have the sound current, you have the high pitch sound, right? It's
Mhm.
like a humming sound, right? Then it gets heavier, heavier as you get closer. So there's one sound we call tur, really loud. And what they explain us in Gurbani, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is when you die, the mind hears that sound really loud. And the mind gets scared, runs the wrong way. I gotta explain you the concept before you understand it.
Mhm.
How Sikhism works is when you wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
five emotions, you know, lust, greed, ego, attachment, anger. Their job is to get the mind out of the body.
Mm.
Your
Okay.
job is to bring the mind back in the body, and sit in the body, because the food for the mind is the sweet nectar we have inside our body, right? So you have to feed the mind. But when we wake up, our five emotions throw the mind out. They go, talk about your family, your neighbors, your friends. Oh, he said this person did this to me. And right away, mind runs out. Keep the mind busy. Your
Yeah.
job is to keep the thoughts low and bring the mind in. So those five emotions, what it is once we pass away, the mind comes out of the body that hears a noise. Those five emotions become the five soldiers, the five jamboots. There's a video of a Korean video of hell. It's
Okay.
on YouTube. That video is very close to what happens. Those
Mm.
five emotions become those five soldiers, and they grab the mind and take it to judgment.
To judgment.
Judgment, yes. We are
Okay.
all judged. And then also, if you want to get more detailed, there's also, if you don't want to go spirituality, if you want to go more of a scientific way, there's another doctor called Dr. Michael Newton.
Mhm.
So what he has done is, because I'm hypnotherapy, I do past life regression, and he does life between life regressions. So he basically has done 7,000 regressions. What he does is he takes you to a past life when you're dying. He starts from there. So who came to get you? What happened on the way? What did you experience? It goes in detail. It's very fascinating to watch that.
Wow. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing those different perspectives.
right.
I'm curious, what do you think happens personally? What do you hope? What do you hope happens?
No, I'm not hoping. I'll tell you exactly what happens.
Okay, okay.
Right? So when you die, we have three bodies. We have the physical body. We have the sukham. It's a light body. If you see the Russian camera, if you cut the finger, take the picture, you see a light.
Mhm.
What they do, they cut the finger off, but they see an extra light of it. It's an extra body inside of us. We call sukham body. And then
Okay.
we have the soul. Then we have the soul. And then we also have the mind. So the physical stays here.
Yeah.
The sukham and the soul go back to the mind because they're always part of the mind.
Mhm.
It's the mind that comes out and has the karmic dues is all with the mind. So the mind is the one that goes for judgment and everything. So if right now, if you clean the mind, because
Yeah.
right now, if you close your eyes, you see darkness, right?
Mhm.
So the mind has that dirt of thoughts of so many past lives. That's why you just cannot sit in a meditation and close your eyes. Nothing's going to happen. You got to clean that dirt off first.
Mm.
How you clean that dirt off is you use a mantra, a mind tool, right? And a mantra we use is we call Waheguru.
Yeah.
And
Powerful.
so what we do is basically when we chant the mantra, we're bringing a mind into the sound where it starts in your mouth. You focus the mind into the sound, and that's what cleans it. If your mind is not clean or your thoughts are not reduced, you can sit for meditations, how many ages, and nothing much will happen.
Wow.
There's a methodology, a
Much,
system.
no, yeah.
And
So,
even my second question to my teacher was, because in the beginning I couldn't ask these when he's young, but when you get older, you won't get any answers that right. But
yeah,
the question was, we have so many religions here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which of these prophets have met God? The answer, you'll be shocked, is most of these major religions, their prophet has only gotten to the door. It hasn't even met divine. So those Bible, if you dissect their teachings, you'll see they teach you how to get to the door, but nobody teaches you how to connect to divine. Or doesn't even talk about divine.
Yeah, that's certainly your perspective, and that's
Yeah.
what your knowledge is.
Yeah.
Different people with different religions and different perspectives have that. But just going back to your own personal experience,
Yes.
around death and dying, what would you want to happen at your end of life experience?
See, what I'm focusing right now is already practically killing my mind into the
Yeah.
sound current. So
Okay.
there are different stages of the sound current. So if you learn right now and while living, if you can take your mind into those sound currents, close your door, go in, right?
Mhm.
Like our mind every night actually goes home when we sleep, right? That if you don't have any dream, your mind has gone home. There's
Mhm.
an area we call the Ga. He has checked in and comes back.
Okay.
It actually does that. But slowly, what you got to do is you got to awaken the mind at night and learn to follow the mind home.
Wow. How long
But
does that take to learn?
it takes, I'm still doing it. You know, it takes ages and it all depends on your karma too, when he wants you to meet you, right? So the second stage, I'm telling you, so I have my first teacher. The first teacher is he saw divine, talks to divine, right?
Mhm.
So the second teacher he introduced to us is Bayajit Singh in UK.
Mhm.
So Bayajit Singh is a director of electronic engineering for Honda, professional guy.
Okay.
So they're right now built a $42 million temple in UK.
Oh,
That
wow.
temple is anybody that wants to, any faith, anybody that wants to meet divine right now, you can come there and do your practical.
Okay.
It's all free.
Oh, wow. Have you been there?
Yeah, oh yeah. I stayed there 3 months, and you basically do 15 to 17 hours of meditation a day.
Wow.
The teacher does it with you. There, you cannot cheat. There, you cannot lie. You cannot cheat because the teacher knows all your thoughts. Even in a Sangit, there's 10,000 people. A teacher knows each one of the person's thoughts. You can
Wow.
go back 7 days later. Teacher, I was sitting in the in the Sangit. He'll close his eyes. He'll tell you, yeah, you were sitting in the back in the right hand corner.
Oh my
Even
goodness.
talking here, you can go to Engel and he'll tell you each one of our words what we talked about.
Oh,
Because
wow.
this world we live in is third dimension we call Fragon.
Yeah.
We're living in a fourth dimension we call Chotabad. There's no time. Time becomes an illusion. You can go back where however you want.
This is amazing. So, with the COVID pandemic, like there were a lot of people dying and death and dying was brought to the forefront.
Yeah.
What is your perspective around that?
My
Pers-
teacher from my UK told us 3 years ago. He said, "Look what will happen in the next 5 years."
Mhm.
He goes, "There's a battle between good and evil." So you will see right now a lot of people becoming spiritual and a lot of people going in a negative path. You see, even when they look at ads on YouTube, Facebook, Saintism is really coming out now, getting huge in Mexico, right? Look at July 1st, what's supposed to happen, right? So many things. Same with the divines. A lot of spiritual groups are coming up together, getting more into meditation, more spiritualities, right? Next 5 years for me is all about clearing, balancing out. There's too much negativity on earth right now.
So
So
what
that
happened to your soul, like your soul after you died? Do you believe in reincarnation or anything like that?
soul goes back to divine. It's already part of divine, right?
Yeah. But
The
do you
mind,
believe in reincarnation, or do you feel like this is the last leg of the journey and then you're with divine forever? Or
well, as a Sikh, we believe in 8.4 million uh, recreations, right? So what it is
4 million? Wow.
the 8.4 million life forms right now on Earth. The mind, because it's karma, it has a karma, it keeps on being recreated till you clear the karma. And as human beings, like we are the only creation that can be freed. The trees, the animals, the rocks, all these, they're all life forms. Oceans are life forms, but they cannot free themselves. Only when you came in this human life form, you're given a chance to go meet divine while you're living. No other life form can do that. But because we call the dark ages, because it's a Kaljog,
Yeah.
we forget that and we get all stuck into making money, business, becoming rich and all that. We forget our purpose. Why are we here?
So interesting and so much to learn. Yeah, like I think we could do this like forever, this conversation, because obviously it goes deeper. There's so much
When
depth.
you work with a real sadhu, like we did in UK, I can't even tell you most of the stuff because you're not going to believe me what happens, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's levels you got to go into. Like, there's people that sit in nirvana state for straight 40 hours, sitting in front of God's door for Him to come and get them, right? Like, there's so much things I can share with you.
Have you met anyone that's had a when you say that you're people that met divine, is that that's a conscious effort or an effort they've made while they're in a state of peace? But have you ever met anyone that's died and said, I had an experience, an out of body experience, then had come back to life? Like, they say a lot of people that have an end of life or death experience, but they die for a bit, they see the light, and then they come back into their body. Have you ever met anyone like that, or do you have any perspective?
In the group, you hear stories, but
Yeah.
like we are told, first of all, if the teacher you want to get, you want to work under you, doesn't matter where in the world you are, once you die, your teacher should know that my student has passed away. And if his mind goes into a negative life path, he should be able to get you out. If your teacher cannot do that, then you don't want to take on that teacher. That's why I cannot tell you too much because you're not going to even understand what
Yeah,
I'm
no,
talking
I personally I wanted to know if you've had a personal experience yourself.
about myself,
Or
but we hear a lot about it, right?
yeah. Yeah, no, like sometimes you met someone that died and came back, or you have beliefs around it. Obviously, you have some insight of your own beliefs. But
There's,
what else
there's,
do you want? Sorry?
there's actually students that have even gone to different areas and came back, told you what they saw, right? Sometimes you can ask the teacher, I want to see this, can you take me? Depending on his mood, right? He can take you or not take you, take your mind, right?
Wow, this is extremely fascinating. Yeah, there's so much more to learn about just, we in our Western world, we're like, you have a physical body, you die,
Yeah.
and then what happens? And this is the question we all have. And your perspectives are so interesting.
Shocked and confused that a lot of people have such limited knowledge.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it, like our Bible, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, is for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for Sikhs, right? Like right now, NASA, right? So NASA, it studies Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji every day because it talks about so many universes, so many planets already in the future. 500 years ago, they already told you what's going to happen, what's out there. There's a library.
Yeah.
There's a library in California. They had about 8 to 10 scientists that did research on all of the Bibles of the world. And 10 years later, they chose Guru Granth Sahib Ji as a pure knowledge for everybody to share. Now in that library, the biggest library in California, and the seventh floor is given to Harikiran Singh, so everybody come and take a look what it is about, right? And the first
These are
lesson,
the tools, yeah.
the first lesson we're taught there also by our teacher is you cannot have any differences between any faith, any religion, or any people. If you have even 1% difference, you will never meet divine.
Mm-hmm.
So you
All,
what religion does God practice? It's religion of love.
yeah.
Till you don't see anybody, each person with love, you will never get anywhere.
Wow, we have so much work to, well, I have so much work to do. And you know, this, like I said, like you have so much insight and perspective around stuff, but there are lots of people that won't even have a conversation about a death or dying, or the word death and dying scares them.
Yeah,
And they've never even thought about it. And, you know,
religion, yeah.
and meeting people who are dying who don't want to talk about death and dying, you know, and it's just so riddled with fear. And it sounds like the practice that you engage in is around just love, and it kind of, fear is not a factor in that practice that you
The
do for
last
the,
thought you take when you're dying, the last thought,
yeah,
that also implements the next life form you will come.
that's your belief, yeah.
Your whatever karma you planted, plus the last thought. There's so much.
What would you like your last thought to be?
My last thought is focusing on a sound current, because you learn how to go into the sound current right now, practicing going in it.
Yeah.
Once your mind already knows what to do, basically the loud sound current will come out. You put your mind into it, you go home to divine, the game over.
That you are consciously making an effort to be in that state on your last breath.
You're doing it right now. You got to meet divine while you're living, not when you die.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be surprised how many thousands of people are doing it right now.
Yeah. Amazing.
Even the younger people nowadays, it's massive.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are awakening and wanting to be in that space. And then, like you said, there's others that are not. So this has been like a really interesting conversation with you. Is there anything else you want to shed on your personal experience with death and dying?
You know, the thing is, you know, the fear you have. First of all, if you ever want to get on this path, do your research, because breath is your wealth. If you follow somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, you waste all those breaths. I've seen those people that waste their breath for years, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and later they realize they're doing the whole thing wrong,
Yeah.
right? You're not going to get a second chance.
Yeah, but I guess, you know, everyone has a path. Like everyone can't find the right person right away. And
Yes.
we're all on this journey.
You do your prayers to divine, he will find the right person for you. You just got to ask. Like we have, like yourself, you know, we have guides, we have angels, we have spirits. If we don't ask them to help us, they're not going to help us.
Right. So the message is ask for help. Yeah.
I gave up. I just asked him. I go, is there anybody, or should I quit?
Ask,
right?
You shall receive.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing, if you're doing your practical, living a good life, and you do what you're supposed to be here, there's nothing to fear, right? There's actually a lot of stuff on YouTube that people have that already passed away, came back as spirits, did their recording.
Oh, wow. I haven't come across those. I'd have to ask you about those. But yeah, there's such a death and dying. It's a topic that, you know, I'm just starting to scratch the surface in having these conversations. And it's more around perspectives, different people's perspectives, you know. And I really appreciate you sharing yours and having this conversation with me today.
Yes.
And I hope to learn a bit more from you. You know, it sounds like you have so much to share. So, you know, I feel like I like to get a little bit from lots of sources and then move on my path. I have a path myself, but I feel like you can always benefit and learn from other people as well. And this whole sound journey, that's actually new to me. So I'm going to be exploring that a little bit. And you sent me a YouTube video that I love that I'm going to be listening to, and I have been listening to. So
thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.